There is the left side of the brain, and the right side. I question, is there a right way to live? To say, there is more than one way to survive. As we all look different, and think different. As to match a culture that accepts ways to be fed. To match with a significant other. We're all trying to find our way, I guess, of feeling emotion. As a thought is multiple words, what with a new way, they weigh and study to survive. Reading and being of service, before of being stable. In the city of South Los Angeles, I have experienced the streets, and an indoor experience with the coronavirus pandemic. Timing is everything, as is my reason for my second visit to South Los Angeles, after time spent in LA County Twin Towers Jail. At first, just discharged from the mental hospital next to an airport, I was welcomed to the Kingert Center. A black couple required rent money in exchange for board and care. This was where I will speak of my first experience in South LA. Marijuana was just legalized in California, and my brother, Connor Reed Hedegamo, was killed in a car crash due to a driver, one of his friends, that drove off a cliff on their way to Mount Baldy for a hike. He loved to go hiking, just like his mother. My grandmother broke the news to me the day it happened. I was crushed, and I eventually relapsed with my drug of choice, marijuana. I was masking the hurt with the drug, and started projects that never went anywhere, or were of impossible feat. I was having delusions that my brother was still alive, and was a prisoner in Hollywood. Stolen from me for reasons of what my blended father and myself stood for. Who has power and control of the cinema's influence on the nation? My hallucinations were as extreme to the point, as when I would eat, walk down a street, or make a purchase at a store, etc. Connor would be beaten, based on every choice I made. As I had been blackballed by Hollywood, and they had it out for me, by making him suffer for the rest of his life. I would walk with these demons of invisible crime in South LA every day. I would also frequent the outpatient facility called Good Times. During my visits to the outpatient, I was secretly smoking weed, yet it was supposed to only be cigarettes. I discovered a shop that sold weed near down the street where I lived at the Kingert Center, and would smoke every chance I got. Even in my room, which 3 other men occupied at night. They never drug tested me at the Kingert Center, so I continued the behavior. I was basically smoking weed, walking, and taking photography of the scenery in South LA, plus writing random ideas. I walked the same rectangular blocks over and over. Basically from the Kingert Center, to the police station, and back, in a loop. I would also do some atypical things. For example, I would feed the homeless, give them money. Or, put vintage Apple hardware in the streets. As a gift from Anonymous, I would see later, where I placed the artifact as a piece of new graffiti would appear. I love graffiti, I love art. And, at the time, my main project, while dreaming up ideas and smoking weed, was attempting to merge a different kind of internet, a richer experience with the culture of streets graffiti. Even scanning the barcode of trash on the floor in the city and earning cryptocurrency, then recycling it, keeping the streets clean. Even to the point where I wanted to replace the telephone poles and towers with modern routers and phones, eliminating the government surveillance of us, and never having to pay for a phone bill again. Sending messages from phone to its destination. Using routers with a firmware update. I would smoke weed, and speak of this effort in the streets of South LA, promoting if you will. Yet, I would later learn that no matter how smart you are, you need a team of people to help you build things. In my diagnosis, a symptom of schizophrenia is disorganized fragmented speech and behavior. And, to put it in the obvious, that's what I was basically displaying in South LA near the intersection of Broadway and Manchester, where there were once riots. I can't explain why I enjoyed the culture in my walks, the energy of motorcyclists passing by, speeding, the shoes over wires of communication, the graffiti and statement against the police force, the fire department always wailing their horn, whatever. After much of smoking secretly in the community, the house manager at the Kingert Center put me on detention. You pay to be in detention, right? He would not allow me to even buy my own coffee from the Burger King around the block. So, I sent a roommate of mine to buy himself a cup of coffee and mine too. I was basically buying coffee for multiple people every day. They'd even get mad at me if they didn't get the resource whenever I got back from the outpatient. Good times. 4. That's the only place I was allowed to go to, off the property, after it was discovered I was smoking weed. I was also stripped of my technology, so life was very mundane with no music. Until one day, when it was time to pay rent 1 month, and I did not have enough money to pay the manager. I just wanted to leave and smoke weed. Yet, the manager at the Kingert Center would not let me leave until I gave him and his wife money. I gave them around $400 and they put all my property on the lawn. With all I could carry, I broke my guitar on a telephone pole and left my medication in bulk in an alley. Took a day's worth of clothes, my tech, and walked to the weed shop. I purchased some cigarettes too and took a bus to Downey CA. I made it to a Del Taco in the streets where it had been raining. Just off the bus, somewhere on the street of Firestone in Downey, I called my mother over VoIP communications on the Wi-Fi at Del Taco in the cold. Whereand, my battery was dying, using the last of the airtime in the app, text-free, and, after just speaking the cross streets to my mom, over the phone, my phone's battery died. 10 or so minutes later, she was there to pick me up, as I was about to attempt to walk to Whittier. The brain is split into an analytical capability and a creative capability. As is schizophrenia, a split of the mind. Where I am currently, is still in South LA. Except this time, I have decided to educate myself about mental health, in which is the arena of my struggle. I am also around a strong support group of clinicians, nurses, a therapist, a doctor, a psychiatrist, and friends who also live with mental health conditions. So I can relate. Inspiration managers guide us through the days spent at Unity House under the umbrella nonprofit. Victory starts now. Every day I wake up and shower to start my day, then start program. But the main thing is that I'm sober and have a strong foundation to grow and progress. I am part of a pioneering effort to keep people out of jail, where I am challenged by staff and administration to learn how to support and advocate for myself when I leave VSN. It is very motivating to know that the nonprofit will supply permanent housing if we work towards it. The tasks include grooming, attending groups, being med compliant, and getting enough sleep. After doing that for over 90 days though, as I have developed a lifestyle. As in reflection to the Kingert Center, on the other side of South LA, I am still walking and writing. Yet, this time, without abusing marijuana and being disciplined by taking medication. Also, attempting to treat my mental condition by learning about it via social media and books. Plus, asking questions to the staff at VSN about jargon that only they might know. So, I can learn a new denotation to get to the next answer and ask more questions to learn. I am simply more informed, and am no longer disorganized. My writings are not gibberish, they make sense, and I am making progress in my projects via all the notes I've taken in the past year. I have been able to excel because of the program allowing me to have a space in my room to be creative, letting me have a desk, and providing rent and food for free, plus Wi-Fi. With the money I've saved, I can now afford the tools needed to make my projects a reality. With that said, I am growing stronger every day, and plan on giving back. An example of this is donating a computer to the art room, thus helping people create computer graphics and music, and that's what it is all about, being of service.